Welcome back to the Toxic Mom Recovery Podcast. Today we are talking about moms who are competitive or jealous of their daughters, different types of mother wounds, and answering the question, am I the asshole for silencing my mom's number? Let's go ahead and dive in. So with moms who are jealous and competitive of their daughters, you can automatically assume that these people are emotionally immature. These are moms that they never grew up or took the time to grow their sense of self. So everything about them was focused on the outside world, getting others' approval, getting all of this stuff outside of themselves. And so their own sense of self was never developed. And so because of that, they're very insecure because they're always looking to somebody else or something else to validate them, to help them feel significant. And so since they're so insecure, anybody that they perceive as being better than them is immediately a threat, even if it's their own daughter, which is really sad, but also helps you realize that this is not a you problem. This is your mom's issue. This is something that she needs to work through and you can't fix it for her. So if your mom is like this, if she's jealous with you, if she's competitive with you, if she's putting you down all the time, then really awareness looks like, hey, this actually has nothing to do with me. This is mom's wounding. This is her issue. This is her thing. And noticing that will help you then start distancing yourself from it. Because if you don't know, oh, my mom's insecure and she's putting me down because she feels bad and she thinks like putting me down is going to make her feel better, you're going to think, oh, there's really something wrong with me. Maybe I shouldn't be doing that. Maybe this is wrong. And it's really not. This is all about her. So getting that, like, okay, mom feels insecure. I can still be successful and she can be insecure about that, and that's okay. There's room for both of us to exist. And part of the problem when it comes to emotionally immature, especially narcissistic moms, where they want you to be so enmeshed with them, right? They want you to be in it with them. And so there's no, oh, this is you and this is me. It's no, we are one. So if I feel upset, you feel upset. If I feel jealous, then you should feel bad because you did something wrong. And that's not true. So part of the healing journey looks like detangling these emotional attachments, this enmeshment, because of course, in a natural, like healthy relationship, you would care if your mom was upset or if you you did something wrong. However, it's her perception of it that is so warped and so twisted that makes you feel like, oh, I did something wrong when you really didn't. So being aware that this is mom's issue. So mom gets to be over here. You get to be over here. You get to be successful. You get to celebrate the win. And she gets to respond the way that she does. So because of that, because you now have this awareness of she can't celebrate with me, she can't be happy for me, she's going to either try to go out and buy something that's bigger and better, or she's going to say, oh, well, that really isn't that great, whatever that is that she's trying to like put you down. Now you get to shift and say, okay, who gets to be that first phone call? When something good happens, when there's a win, when there's like something to celebrate, who are you going to call instead? Because a lot of people first are like, oh, well, I would call my mom. Okay, well, mom isn't healthy. Mom is going to, she's going to poop on your parade. So who are you going to call instead? And just shifting that, even so slightly, is going to help you, because your life is going to be so much sweeter because you have people in your life. You're choosing to turn to that person who's actually going to be excited for you, who's going to celebrate that win. And that's incredibly important. So, you are not doing anything wrong. You are living your life. You're accomplishing great things. And if your mom can't be happy for you, that shows how broken she is on the inside. That's okay. It's okay for her to be insecure. That's her thing to work through. And also, it's not your job to fix it or make it better. You don't have to turn down what you're doing or hide it because she feels insecure about it. The next thing I want to talk about is common mother wounds. Now, I talk about this more in depth in the Toxic Mom Recovery Guide, because pretty much everything that you deal with your mom kind of comes back to these core wounding. So the first one is shame, that belief that who I am is bad, feeling guilt, and feeling not enough. Now, anger is very closely linked to all of these, because anger is that thing where either you feel, if you feel a lot of anger, it's a sign that you've been violated in some way, whether it's your boundaries, whether it's emotionally or physically, whatever that looks like for you. And it's a sign that you've been violated in some way. And so that anger is, hey, there was an injustice here. There was something wrong that happened. And so part of healing all of these different mother wounds looks like going within. Now, a lot of therapy and common, therapy and stuff, even coaching sometimes is like, okay, well, let's talk it out. What's going on? Tell me the things. And to an extent, it's helpful to have an idea of what the problem is. Okay, I always feel like this when I'm around my mom, or I feel like I'm just like that little kid again. I feel like I can't speak up. I don't have a voice. And so these are symptoms of a bigger problem. And the problem is really, it's internal, it's in your subconscious mind. If it's a big moment, then you're gonna remember that. And so if there's memories that come up as I'm talking about this, where you're like, oh yeah, there is that thing, and you can remember it so clearly, like you've got all the details, you're like, I can see who was wearing what, I know where they were in the room, I know exactly how I felt about it. That is like kind of a core memory, right? If you guys have seen Inside Out. So that's this core memory, a core wounding like this. Trying to just think yourself out of it or like logic your way out isn't going to help, because there's a belief and there's an emotion that's attached to that belief that's making it hard for you to get out. So I could tell you all day long, you're like, oh, I feel bad for setting boundaries with my mom. I feel bad for telling my mom no. And I can say, it's okay for you to tell your mom no. And you can think, yeah, I know that, but then there's that feeling, right? There's that feeling in your body. There's that whatever sensation comes up for you where you're like, no, but I can't. And so that is a sign that there is an unconscious belief. There's something that you formed probably in childhood, because that's when we put together this way that we view the world, right? So something that you put together in childhood where it says, if I do this, that means this. So if I say no to my mom, that means I'm bad. Maybe you got a spanking, maybe, there was some negative consequence when you said no. So because of that, you now as an adult feel like you can't say no to your mom. And so healing looks like, okay, tuning into, and this is something I do in my one-on-one coaching, and I also teach it in my guide because it's so important to learn how to mindfully tune in. Okay, what am I feeling? What is that emotion? And making space for it. So many times we don't want to deal with these emotions because we fear that, oh, well, it's going to overwhelm me. It's going to overtake me. And no, like the emotion isn't you. It's a representation of what's going on. It's a representation of this belief. It's this energy that's attached to this memory. And so even having that distance, like, okay, so this energy, this feeling is over here and I'm here and I'm safe. So it's okay. Talk about this way more in my guide, and even walking you through different exercises in my course of how to tune into your emotions, how to start shifting them and changing them, because really it's not as hard as we've been made to believe. Your mind and your imagination is so incredibly powerful. And I think we miss out on a lot when we choose to just be like, oh, well, I'm just going to logically think about this. I'm just going to rationally, well, there's no reason for me to feel this way or to think that way. It doesn't matter. The emotion, the energy, that feeling, that belief is still there. And so if you're wanting to learn how to do this more, I highly recommend you get the Toxic Mom Recovery Guide. Final topic of the day is, am I the asshole for putting my mom's number on mute? Now, this lady messaged me on TikTok, and she said, my mom has really been pushing. She's been wanting me to have kids. I finally met somebody, we're dating, and so I'm putting that on hold while I figure this out. Completely reasonable, except her mom is pushing and pushing and pushing for her to move forward, give me grandbabies. And so she's like, am I the asshole for putting my mom on mute while I'm figuring this out? And the short answer is no. You've told your mom clearly, this is what I'm going to do. Also, it's your life, so you definitely get to choose what that looks like for you. And so you said, Mom, this is what I'm going to do. This is my decision. And if she keeps pushing and pushing and pushing and will not let it go, then a boundary is really there. It's not about controlling another person. It's there to protect yourself. So by you saying, you know what, I'm going to put her number on mute for a while, that is your boundary. That is you protecting yourself from her toxic behavior, because she won't stop. She won't stop pushing. She won't stop nagging you, because she doesn't actually, like, deep down, she can't really care about what you want, what you need. She's so consumed with herself. And, well, I need grandbabies because all my friends have kids and have grandkids, and I need to show pictures on Facebook, and I need. And it's all about her. She's not actually caring about you and what you want. And that's a problem. Setting this boundary of protecting yourself, of putting her number on mute for however long you need, is completely acceptable and okay. Because even if you had a conversation with her, she wouldn't like it, she wouldn't listen, she would just keep arguing and fighting and all the things that she does. So when someone is like that, it's completely okay to just say, you know what, I'm gonna protect myself from this behavior for a while. It's not you being mean. I had someone in my comments the other day saying, no contact is abusive. And I'm like, It's not abusive. It's not doing anything to punish the other person. This is what I need to do to protect myself from your toxic behavior. This is different from a parent withholding love or giving the silent treatment when you were a kid and you depended on them for everything in your world. That is abusive. That is damaging. However, your mom is an adult now and you're an adult. Since your mom is an adult, you can absolutely say, you know what, I'm going to set a boundary with this. And they don't listen to boundaries. They experience them. A lot of times people get caught up when they're like, I don't know how to deal with my mom. What do I do? What do I do? And it's really not about controlling or trying to make her do anything. It's you taking steps and saying, you know what, I value myself. What I need and what I want is important. And like building up your sense of self, building up your sense of self-worth so that you can just say, I'm not going to tolerate this anymore. I'm not going to put up with this behavior. This isn't how you get to treat me. And sometimes it looks like blocking your mom's number. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode. If you have questions that you want me to answer, put them in the comments, and I will see you guys next week.